about what that practice means within our own moral context. Applied to the experience of conservative Protestants, I show how moral incongruence creates a situation in which pornography affects conservative Protestants' lives in ways that are not only unique, but also, as we will see, uniquely damaging compared to other Americans who may use pornography more often, but who lack the deeply inculcated and socially reinforced moral condemnations against it. This damage can also be exacerbated by other subcultural distinctives among conservative Protestants, including their pietistic idealism, biblicism, sexual exceptionalism, complementarian gender ideology, and contentious understandings of mental health and change. I'll explain all those terms and ideas in good time. There is no way around it. The topic of pornography is loaded with moral and political implications. Some scholars view it as irredeemably oppressive and misogynistic, a cancer for society. Others, applying a more social constructivist interpretation, challenge the very idea that pornography is itself a thing rather than an arbitrary label dominant groups give to sexual ideas and images that fall outside their parochial standards of acceptability. The former group sees porn as immoral and to be rejected, while the latter group sees it as amoral and valuable for pushing the boundaries of sexual freedom. And of course, many, myself included, fall somewhere between these two extremes. Readers should know that social science is inextricably linked with issues of morality and politics. This is so because social science involves statements about what human beings are like, and inevitably involves assumptions about the sorts of goals and priorities around which societies should be organized. Scientists are human. That's a nice way of saying they are prone to bias. As such, they do not approach the ideas of human flourishing, fairness, and moral imperatives without preformed and deeply held beliefs. Moreover, as the moral psychologist Jonathan Haidt has argued so powerfully, scientists, like all humans, tend to be groupish. Rather than choose our intellectual tribes on the basis of pure reason, we like to emotionally identify with groups first, and then use reasoning to defend our group's beliefs against others whom we conclude to be either stupid or evil or both. I am not saying that is how social science ought to be, but that's how it is, nevertheless. Why do I say this at the onset? In my experience, pornography research is a unique field because there is little established dogma that groups in power use to exclude scholars from the conversation. That is a good thing. Different scholarly camps approach the subject of porn with different ideological presuppositions and different conclusions that they like to draw. This is not the case for all sexuality research, certainly, but it has been true in research on pornography. In some disciplines or fields, one ideological position on an issue eventually comes to dominate the narrative and ultimately takes on a moral quality. Even attempting to question the established doctrine on such subjects would show that you are not only ignorant on an issue most consider settled, there may also be something morally wrong with you. But the subject of pornography's positive or negative influence on society is not like such issues. On the contrary, differing arguments on the subject of porn's effects are published in nearly every issue of the top sexuality journals, like the Archives of Sexual Behavior or the Journal of Sex Research, both of which I currently serve as an editorial board member. The debates about porn are wide open. That is good for science and for me. Still, readers will almost certainly have their own moral and political views on the subject of porn, and they may be curious whether I have an agenda in writing about it. I consider it a point of professional pride that in 2017 I was accused of having a pro-porn agenda by anti-porn activists